All right, here we go. Let's see. All right, do I have any volunteers to read the Bivens?
No.
No? I don't know if that was for me, but who would like to volunteer to read this tonight?
I'll read it.
Who is that?
Lois on Pennsylvania.
Okay, go ahead, Lois.
Bivens Declaration. This meeting is private, bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. Anyone who is here under false pretenses, anyone who is working for a foreign government, including the territory of the United States or municipal United States, anyone who's being paid or coerced to be here must fully disclose their presence and purpose now or leave the meeting. If they subsequently show up as federal witnesses, they are discredited for failure to disclose. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, city, county, or township agencies present? Any response? I can't see the rest of it.
Oh, I think that's it. That's just, there's nothing else under there.
This one's okay. I yield.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to stop sharing that, and I could see you guys again. So for those of you who are new tonight, you know, I had been interviewing states. Hey, Bart, good to see you. I've been interviewing states. Michelle Ford and I have been interviewing states for over a year now. And there was a common theme when talking to people that they were looking for a collaboration effort. You know, we've got different talents and skill sets all across this land, that if we could pull our minds and our creativity together and come up with some great outreach efforts, that we're better united together as one, right? Working, you know, with all of our different special talents and skill sets. So that was the premise of pulling this together. And, you know, in the first couple of meetings, we had different people from different states present what they're doing on their states. And the idea is that we're looking for creative ideas that may be a little different or that are successful, bringing people into your assembly, status correcting them. And so that's really what this think tank is. And so I will encourage you all, if you have some really creative ideas on your state that you feel like it's successful, it's drawing people into your assembly, it's turning people, you know, correcting them, you know, please reach out to me, send me an email, reach out to me on Telegram. We'll get you on the agenda. But I will say by far, and it was almost unanimously, we had Louise from Ohio present her postcard campaign, and it just really blew us away. So you should have all got that. I did post the PDF file on the think tank, and I also sent it in an email, so you guys should have had that. And that is what we're going to review this evening. I will caveat that with saying that I know we've had some people, you know, posting some concerns about security issues and different things of that nature. So tonight, I think Louise has kind of covered that in the PDF file that she put together and that I sent in the email. But if you have any of those questions for her, she's going to be presenting tonight, and we're going to be going over it a little bit more thoroughly. And now would be a really great time to ask those questions so we can kind of get those things out of the way. You know, we have a date that we would like to launch this, which is in September. So we've got about 2 to 3 months to kind of work out the kinks of phase one. And she would like to roll it out in phases, which makes a lot of sense. And if you read through the whole project, it really is comprehensive and very well thought out. So I'm going to hand unless you have any questions for me, I'm going to hand the stage over to Louise and let her screen share so we can get into this. But anybody have questions?
Yeah, I don't get an image. Can you possibly help me how I can get an image? I'm sorry. I'm technologically challenged.
Ah, you don't get an image. And you know, we only see your phone. So I guess did you dial in or are you on the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I dialed in and I pressed the code and the password, and I
So,
don't get an image. Like I'm like baffled, and I'm sorry.
so
Oh,
I believe that you have to use the link and go through your web browser or your Zoom app to be
oh,
able to see the video.
I see. Okay, so maybe I might have to disconnect and reconnect again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Do you have the Zoom app?
Yes, I do. I do. I will do it in that fashion, and I'll come back.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds good. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Anybody else?
Ray,
Yes, go ahead, Ray.
I just came on, so I don't know what just happened. I thought you were calling Ro.
Oh, no, nope.
Sorry.
I was just asking if anybody has questions. No.
I
All
just,
right, Luis, I'm gonna go ahead and allow you to get us started on your presentation.
All right. Hi, everyone. Those who don't know me, I'm Louise Anthony. I prefer Louise Anthony. Louise Campbell Anthony is a mouthful. I'm going to present to you, some of you that already heard the postcard presentation at the beginning, but inspiration keeps coming and it keeps developing more and more. So I'm going to try to cover everything. It's actually there's actually 6 phases right now. And I'm going to cover everything as much as I can in this hour and a half that we have in respect of everybody's time. I'm going to paste in the chat right now what I'm going to be covering. So I can get that out the way. Y'all can download that and we'll be following that. Now I'm going to try to screen share. See if I can do this. Share. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So this is where we're going to start. Actually, I feel like I should give you all an introduction to me and where I'm coming from with this, just to give you an idea of where my inspiration is coming from. I'm going to do that first. I'm going to start with the letter that I wrote to Anna. This is the letter I wrote to Anna, February 16th. I'm going to read a piece of it. Any documents that I share, I'll give it to Tammy so she can send it out with the replay. So I'm going to start here. Now, let me say this. If y'all have any questions about anything that I share here, we'll take questions hopefully at the end. And if we don't get to the questions, you can always email me and I'll email you back and we'll go from there. So I'm going to start here. This is what I wrote to Anna when I came up with the postcard campaign to try to get her, Anna, can I get your authorization for this? That's what I wrote. I told her my fight started around about the same time as yours did back in 1996, when I left the Christian church after having earned my bachelor's degree in evangelism at Oral Roberts University and applied for pastoral ordination at my humble community Mennonite church. Things soon came to a halt when in my self-studies, I stumbled upon all the lies I was taught by the one institution who I was supposed to be able to depend on to tell me the truth. Feeling betrayed, I continued my search to find out who was telling the truth, and I found myself fighting the government lies with a group of local community activists who knew something was definitely wrong. Now I'm going to do a little commentary right there. Now,
The
back
auto
then,
you go to.
can you hear me?
Did that yesterday.
Oh, somebody's got a live mic. So about this time, my husband and I was shedding ourselves of all these lying institutions. We left the church for reasons I just explained. We left the ministry. We were pastoral elders at our church. We left the public school system. I took my kids out. We took our kids out. We had 2 in school at the time. We had a set of twins at home at the time, so there was 4 of them. I started homeschooling them. We left what we called healthy food indoctrination. We always planted our own food, processed our own meats, and we joined a organic farm co-op at that time. And I can remember a year when I can count on just one hand how many times I had visited the grocery store that year. We left the medical indoctrination. We left the hospitals. We left vaccinations behind. We started birthing our children at home. I birthed my 7th child at home on our living room floor. No birth certificate, no doctor's probing. However, the next one after that was a set of twins, and we didn't feel quite confident at that point to birth a set of twins at home, but we went with a birthing plan. No birth certificate, no signing birth certificates, no names on the birth certificates. We felt pretty liberated at the time. So our relationship was a little rockier at that time because we were still fighting all the fronts about the lying government. So that's why we decided we was going to go with the birthing plan. So back to this small group that was fighting the government back then. It was less than 10 of us. We were doing research. We looked in all kinds of information. I spent about $10,000 on books, seminars, court battles, and everything that seemed like it was the silver bullet process. Nothing seemed to work. Back then, we was using acceptance for value. We was using Form 56, claim of life, common law liens, UCC1 secured party processes. But we soon found out that they don't play by their own rules and they don't play fair. So one thing that we did manage to accomplish, that group of less than 10, we actually had to fight our governor in Illinois, Governor George Ryan. They wanted to bring an $80 million prison project into our neighborhood at the beginning of our neighborhood when you come in, and take over one of our 40-acre organic farms. We stood up, less than 10 of us, and we fought him. And in 2 years, they closed up shop. They didn't put that prison in our neighborhood. And Governor Ryan was indicted on charges of fraud and racketeering. I'll tell you more about that when I get to phase 3. But everything that we were doing was costing us dearly. We even got to the point where we decided, well, we're going to construct our own government. We're going to figure out how we can trade and barter with our own money, because we felt like money, controlling your own money was a key to your freedom as well. So for me, the Global Family Bank is the key to us being free. We got to the point of mapping out our government structure, mapping out what kind of money we were going to do, but that's as far as it got. I'm gonna go back to the letter. We were feeling betrayed. I continued my search to find out who was really telling the truth with this local activist group that cost us dearly. We lost homes, lands, jobs, cars, marriages, lots of money fighting in their courts and purchasing information on processes to try to get favorable results. A couple of us even landed up in jail for some years. You know very well how this story goes. I even pulled my land patent from the BLM in 1999, but filed it away, not knowing what to do with it since nothing seemed to get the results we were desperately wanting. I had to leave the battlefield scarred in 2002, but now I'm back. So today, even out of those 10, we have one of them still fighting, looking at another prison sentence, second prison sentence, due to fraudulent filing of income taxes. 4 of them got divorced. My husband and I being one of them. We lost 4 of our properties, including our home and 3 land properties. I believe that was a great blow to him, kind of took the wind out of his sails. But I did manage to get our house back, 2 properties, but I had to let the 1 property go along with my husband. After 30 years and 10 children, he became irredeemably abusive, including sexually abusive to all of us. Well, not sexually abusive to all of us, but abusive to all of us, just sexually to some of them. That's what brought me here to Ohio. My last child graduated in May, so I will be going back home here soon. But that's the price we had to pay. Now, back to the letter. I gave you my backstory so you can have an idea of where my inspiration comes from. We ran across your name back then too, Anna, but you hadn't gotten your land legs yet, as we now say. You hung in there through all your scars, and you and your team have indeed cracked the code. For that, I am eternally grateful and stand in awe of your sacrifice and the progress you made. Although still ongoing, and you are surprisingly still alive. And by that, I mean, we know what they do to people like you. I shared that because I wanted you to know where I was coming from and that I am operating in line with what the fiduciary is leading us to do and not going off half-cocked. That's my backstory. And Anna, the rest of the letter, I'll let you read the rest of the letter later. But the reason on the call, at the coordinator call, I gave Anna my commitment is because she's convinced me that she won't lie. She won't lie to me. She won't lie to you. If we do find her in a lie, it's not intentional. So I was willing to give her my commitment to do what I can to continue this fight and fight as hard as she's been fighting as well. So I felt I need to share that because some people may need to vet me and figure out where I'm coming from and what my true intentions are. And also, I wanted to bring up the fact of some of us, if we go with this plan and dive in and do the things that I'm strategizing to do, may become targets. And you might have to think about what price are you willing to pay for this same fight. I know people on this call, a lot of you probably already paid a lot of prices and you know what the stakes are. And then frankly, I wanted you to know whether I have somebody on my side or whether somebody's gonna go with me with this project or not. I was planning on doing it by myself. So right now we're calling on volunteers to see who else wants to stick their neck out and go with this plan to try to stand up our counties, stand up our states, not just stand them up, but stand them up strong so that we can do what we got to do to take our country back. That's what I want to share with that. So moving on, I'm going to share what this plan is. Now, first, the part that I shared with Anna in the letter was the postcard and the county tours. That's phase 1 and phase 2. I haven't shared any of the rest, phase 3 to 6 with her yet. So if you all maybe knowing more than what I know, see anything in this project that may be not allowed, then please share that, or you might think it may not be allowed. Please share that at the end so we can know how to address it and get some answers to how we can maneuver in that particular phase. Okay. So each of the phases, this is phase 1. This is where I started. What I'm going to do first is tell you the overall funnel that I created with just starting with the postcard. So the funnel works like this. I got this thing up here, so I can't see where my things are at the top of my screen. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, the funnel works like this. The assembly or a national, either one, can send out a postcard. Now, I found out that we can send out postcards per zip code if you find a printer who prints them and is part of the Every Door direct mailing system that the Postal Service already has. You can give them your zip codes that you want to send them to, and you can send them that way. So these are the postcards. This is one of them. I have about 5 variations of postcards of what they would look like or may look like. This is the general one that people can just download and put on cars like Gerard was talking about. You can just post these or you can write on them. These are the simpler ones that you can just do. The other 5 depends on what printer you're going to go with. Now, Anna hasn't read this postcard because I changed it since I originally did it. There's only one word on here, though, that I'm concerned about, and that's that word recovered. She often uses the word recouped. So that's one word that I'm going to have checked with her. Everything else is, it's okay, as far as I can tell. From this postcard, that postcard will lead them to this QR code. That QR code lands them on, let's see, lands them on this page. So from the postcard, they'll come to this page. This page tells them a video about the fraud of the territorial and municipal governments and the fraud they committed against America and the fraud that they committed against the American individually, and what we can do to take our country back. That's what this little video is for. We talked in the last meeting about putting music and voiceover on it. After me and Cheryl finished re-editing it and everything, I decided that we're just going to put a voiceover and not music. At the end of this video, it tells them, let's go to the end. It gives them some action steps so they can go and look at the research that's on one of the pages that I'm going to show you in a minute. And before that, I also tell them to go and get in touch with their American State Assembly. So those are the two ending action steps that I gave them in the video. Now, if to go to their assembly, they can go down here and click on one of their assemblies. Now, if you have a contact page on your assembly website, if you give it to me, I will put your link here to actually your website's contact page. That's what these links are for directly to your website. Up here at the top, they can click on Contact Your State Assembly, and that'll go to the TASA website where they can fill out those coordinator contact forms. From here, they can go to the detailed research, which is this page here. I already had it. This page here. This is the 200 plus pages that I put together with all of Anna's articles, organizing them as I thought about what was the fraud that was perpetrated against America, what was the fraud that was perpetrated against the American individual, and then Rat Watch is what we can do about and what we have done to correct the situation. And then at the bottom, I did put this video. The one that Anna did May 27 is an excellent video that captures all of what was in these 200 so pages that she also wrote. Now, this is the information that Anna is supposed to be going through with me. She only got through the preface and the introduction and hasn't gotten back to it yet. She wanted to make sure that it's up to date. If she decides that she won't have time to get to it and she wants me to take it down, I will. And I would just use this video until we get the documents done so that we can stay on track with our launch date. From here, they'll go to your website, hopefully talk to an individual so they'll know that this is a real thing. We are real people. We are the real government. So that's the importance of them contacting your assembly and talking to somebody. Once your assembly sends out their postcards to that zip code, they're going to plan a county tour. This is the county tour page. You're going to plan a county tour, meaning whatever the zip codes that you sent postcards to, you're going to plan a public meeting in that area so that you can introduce the American Assembly, you can introduce the American Nationals, and you can get people signed up to, not signed up, well, declared, their declarations declared and everything, and join the assembly if they want to, at least just get their declarations done. That's what the tours are going to accomplish, the end result. And then the other thing that, and that's all that I've showed Anna, but since then, the other inspiration was this, is that while in between the time that you sent out the postcards to the time that you hold that public meeting, they can go here to we're gonna have, I'm calling it the 1776 union.tv platform and the blog platform. That's going to be video and TV and printed news in the blog. So they can, at this website, also go to that particular website, which we have yet to build, where they can get all that information. And while they're getting all that information, they'll be ready when they come to the public meeting with educated questions or informed questions. And after talking to you all at your General Assembly meeting, hopefully they've attended that, they'll have some type of background of what we are all about and what they need to do as far as correcting their political status. Now, also at those county tours, we have a brochure that we're going to hand out. Where my brochures at? I've been working on the brochures. I don't know where they're at. I'll show you here on this page, working on the brochures. These brochures here. One is what does political status mean? That's brochure. And why do you need to correct your political status? So me and Cheryl have been working on this. I think it's pretty much done. Few more little tweaks to do, but these are the brochures that you can hand out to the people who come to the meeting. And you can just download them and hand it out in your community too while you're talking to people. So that is the funnel of how the postcard leads them to one page, leads to the video leads them to your website, the video leads them to the detailed research, leads them to the blog and the TV, and then leads them to the tour. Hopefully you have your tour, you can get them signed up. Rinse and repeat for other zip codes that you want to target. And I'm going to talk more about the strategies of who to target later. That's the general postcard campaign funnel. Now I'm going to talk about each of them separately. The purpose of the postcard. The purpose of the postcard is to give official notice to the public of our adjudication of the crimes against the American people and the Federation's recovery of the assets for every man and woman, and what they need to do individually to correct their political status in order to claim theirs. Now, this serves to me as our official introduction to the world and to the public that we are the newly restored American government in action, doing what we're supposed to do through our lawful channel. I believe our lawful channel is the Postal Service. I've heard Anna say that. And the postcards are 4x6 in case you wanted to try to design some yourself, or if you get a printer and they require a certain design for their postcards, that's the size we were using. I was just trying to see if I missed anything. I got some notes so I don't miss anything. All right, the next thing I'm gonna go over here is the tours. Now I called it Declaring Our Independence 2.0 County Tours. Now these tours, the purpose of them is a follow-through event to the postcard campaigns. These tours can combine our energies and focus on populating the states and the county in a strategic and consistent way. Now, as we tour, the tour of the public events scheduled across the state, the public will see us as the newly restored American government and acting in our communities, and see us real people, real faces in our communities and doing what we're supposed to have been doing all along. So they will know what our American government is supposed to be doing. And so you can be witnessing, they can be signing their declarations and everything right on the spot. Now, another phase here. Oh, let me mention this too. This is my idea of how you can design your flyers when you set up your county tours. The flyers can be designed by you all, but there's 8 elements that I thought needed to be consistent among the flyers to have the continuity among each county and each state. And these are the different elements that I think that should be on the flyer, so they can see that we are one mass group of people and not just one individual county or individual state, but we are the 50 states with our sub-counties government too, that we're all one government. And the bottom here, number 8, I thought was very important. I have using New Jersey as an example. The New Jersey Assembly is a member of the Federation of States, DBA, the United States of America, unincorporated 1776. That's element 8 that I thought was important to put on your flyers. They don't have to look like this, but these 8 elements here. The announcement header, I think, should be the same, declaring our independence 2.0. The subheader, restoring our sovereign soil jurisdiction across America after 160 years of dormancy. The Federation trademark, the peace flag, and your assembly trademark. Your list of counties that should be listed there, I'm thinking, and then your announcement about your public meeting. Of course, you need your contact information of the address, email, phone numbers, anybody that they can contact about the tour. And on the right-hand side there is your officers. I know we had this issue about people don't want their names out there or their faces out there. Well, here we go. Our names and faces is going on this so that people can see we're really people. So that's the flyer that you can design to put out there as you announce that the tour is coming or the public meeting is coming. And it's called a tour because you're going to rinse and repeat per zip codes throughout your state and tour around your state doing this. Now, so
Louise,
this space, yes.
I don't want to break your flow here, but I do have a question before you go on to the other phases. Were you able to come up with a cost for this? Mostly the mailing, right? The mailing of the postcards.
Mm-hmm.
I know on our state we did, we were looking into doing like a direct mailer. Just, to kind of dip our toes in it and see if it's worth the cost. And I was wondering if you were able to gather how much this would cost.
So the first time I looked into it was with Staples, and that was the only company I looked into it with. And theirs was like $1 card, roughly. That was like 500 cards, I think I was asking about at that point.
So
but
I went on
Craig
to,
said you can get it cheaper than that.
Yeah, I went on to Next Day Flyers because I'm thinking if you're talking about a county, right? A county is probably going to have anywhere upwards, depending on where you live, right? If you live in a more suburban or urban area, I was thinking roughly somewhere around 10,000 direct mailers. I know Next Day Flyers, and I didn't have enough time to look into how they would mail them, but it did include the mailing, and it was $848 for 10,000. So that's pretty cheap.
Good.
I
good.
just don't know the logistics, because I know some of them you have to actually input addresses, and then there's another thing that they offer where you could probably put, the zip code, I'm guessing, but I haven't dived in deeper to that. I'm curious to see if anybody has done, any research on that and what the cost would look like. And that's all I was thinking of. I yield.
Yeah, I think it's going to be different per state, of course, because we know economics is different per state. But I'm in Ohio right now, and that's just what I found out from Staples. But the printer, a local printer down here, their prices was different. I told them how much I was looking at. They said, no, ours won't be that much, but they didn't tell me what it was going to be. All right. Now, this phase 3 is new. It involves the county sheriffs and PKTF. It's a bridge attempt to reach the territorial and municipal officials to demand that they stand down. Now, this one is going to be pretty strong. I don't know if I'm in line with this one, but this is the inspiration that came. So with this one, there's a few elements to it. Let me read what it's for. The purpose of, and now I'm calling it the Capitulation Tour. Anybody who's followed Trump, not that we're expecting you to or anything, knows about the Capitulation Tour, where he goes around all these nations and they supposedly bowed to him and surrendered to his leadership. Well, that's what we need to do with the municipal and the territorial here on our American soil. So that's why I call it the Capitulation Tour. And everybody, when you use that word, everybody who knows about Trump Capitulation Tour will know exactly what we're trying to do without them even having to agree with what we're doing. There's two things I'm thinking to accomplish with this, and that is to proclaim to the people that we are at peace and to demand that de facto stands down. Of course, we have to educate them along the way. Now, this tour is made throughout the counties by county sheriffs, meeting with the public officials who run the institutions in their counties, institutions that are paid with our trust funds, not any tax dollars. That's not true. And we use Anna's name somehow in these tours. I know we're talking about jurisdiction, so we'll have to get into how to map all this out. But everybody, the nation stage know who Anna is. So that's why I called it or prefer to use her name as juxtaposed to Trump's name. So here in the tour, I'm thinking that the county sheriffs and the PKTF, the documents that they would use to present would be the contracts. Now, the contracts that we have, I'm gonna go down here. The contracts that we have is the Constitution, all three constitutions. Then there's a Declaration of Interdependence of the United States Collusion of 1937. That's a document. And then the Declaration of Independence is a document. And I'm proposing another document. It's called the Declaration of Independence 2.0. At this tour, what we're asking is for them two demands that the county sheriffs will ask. And I think these are heavy demands, even though they sound simple, is for them to lower the military flag and put up the peace flag. Don't remove the military flag, but put up the peace flag above the military flag. They both belong to us, but we want to put forth the image that we are at peace, first of all, and that the image that there's a stand down going on with the military on our soil. That's one demand. The second demand that I'm thinking to make is for us to put a billboard on our property, which is where that courthouse or that state capitol sits, put a billboard on our property with these things on it: the trademark for the Federation, the flag, and just these words: contact your local American State Assembly to correct your political status. And a big old QR code. This QR code goes directly to either the state assembly of that county or the county assembly if that county assembly has one up. And I also propose that each state would have a web page that says, say, for instance, myohioassembly.com/claim your inheritance. Just one page with at least that video on it. I want them to get in contact directly with the county assembly or the state assembly that's in their area. But they have to have this information too. So that's why I want this QR code to go directly to that state or that county. Those are the only two demands that I think would be effective in getting the message across that we're demanding that they stand down.
May I, Louise?
Yeah.
So on this, you said a billboard, right? It probably would be a good idea. This is probably something we would have to fact check. Because if, I don't know what the rules are for using the seal, the Federation seal, but it probably would be a good idea to even put our own state flag on there. I know that some states are in the process of creating their own flags. So I think that that's probably something we'd either that or your state seal or something of that effect.
Yeah.
All right, I yield.
That sounds good too. So this particular phase is something I want to hand over to the PKTF and the county sheriffs to iron out, to see what they think about it, first of all, and how to implement it, and if they think it would serve the purpose that I'm thinking that it would serve. So that's what this is talking about here. So I called it threats because it is. So what threat do we have to get them to stand down? Well, the threat that I think of is indictments. Just like Trump and them do their indictments, those 100,000 of indictments that they have sitting there still, or some are already executed. But I thought I heard that we were supposed to give the indictment over to them for them to handle their own business. And if they don't, then we can handle it. Well, our courts ain't up yet, but I don't think we have to wait till the courts are up to do this process. But the threat is an indictment that you are in treason, not just to the Constitution, to the Declaration of Independence. And that's the message that I want to go forward as the county tours are going on, and the county sheriffs are sitting down with these people. It is, I don't know how that hand came up. It is that you are in treason to the Declaration. And the message that we want the public to see is, and hear, is that they are in treason to the Declaration. Everybody wants to be free. They need to know that that flag up there that's waving around is telling you you're not free. And if we go to these public officials and tell them, lower that, put the peace flag up, that represents our Declaration, and they don't do it, the message to the public is, these are the people who are in treason to the Declaration, not only the Constitution. Now, back to the story about the less than 10 people, the less than 10 people that took on Illinois governor. Well, what we did, let me say this. I have to humbly and respectfully disagree with the thought that because our courts are standing, that they're going to listen. I don't think that they're going to listen to us just because the courts are standing. If they don't respect us as nationals now, they're not going to respect us as nationals then, when that happens. And I do think we are in a window of opportunity where the changing of guards have already started on the whole nation, on the whole global playing field from 2020 to 2028. And while we see them fighting each other, they are weakening their own fronts. And I think we need to kick them while they're down, basically. So that's why I think we should move now. And the Capitulation Tour will serve to show that we are
Oh, Louise, I think you froze. Louise? Can you guys hear her?
No.
Okay, yeah, she froze.
No, there's no image
Nope.
either of her as well.
Antidepressants.
No
may
image,
increase
no, she's not there, no image.
Want new sudden changes in mood, behaviors, thoughts, or feelings, or if you develop suicidal thoughts or actions, report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion.
All right. Yeah, we lost her.
Oh.
Let's see if she comes back on. Does anybody have any questions of, I know I was watching the chat and I know, there was a comment about, getting, a URL on that. So, but I don't know if I'm sure she'll come back on, we'll hear her. But anybody have any questions of what you saw so far? Any comments you want to make? Anything that, is going through your mind for your state?
Tammy, may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I missed the last 5 minutes. A friend came over to drop off a dog, but I did catch the gist of it. I caught it all the way down to phase 3, most of it. And I had a couple of questions. Number one was, we're still trying to figure out the money, right? So for 10,000 flyers, $800, I have that in my budget. I could do it once, and that's it for the whole year. Maybe I could,
Until we get.
maybe I could do another 800 in 3 months, and then after that, right? But I can't. And I
Yes.
don't know- I don't know what the other, people in my assembly are. I mean, right in Oklahoma, we've got 8 volunteers, right? And we're all trying to, one of our volunteers is, the wife of a truck driver in Illinois, but she's still hanging with us, right? That's the situation we're working with. And then we just recently had a meeting last night, a volunteers meeting, and our coordinator was lighting a fire under us appropriately, which was, we need to get out there. So what we're doing, because we need to grow our numbers, because we just haven't had a lot of people inquiring. We can't tell if that's emails issues, like the emails are being blocked, or maybe we just need to do the hard work and get out there. So we've been brainstorming locally to get, maybe visit a gardening show or a gun show, maybe a gun show, and because those people would be a lot more receptive than some other people. But so that the money was one issue. I'm trying to figure out a solution for that. I don't have one yet. And then the other was on the capitulation tour. I had an idea on that. So she mentioned Trump's capitulation tour, and I found Trump to be a hot item, kind of controversial among state nationals, because there's plenty of state nationals that are not like me, and they have come to the assemblies and they were not Republican and they don't like Trump. And so I've learned to steer clear of Trump when I talk about state nationals, because it kind of turns some people off, because he's a controversial, figure. And I think he likes it that way, and I like it that way, but it's not good for other people. And so I see that as being a challenge when we use the capitulation tour for that reason. I'm not saying it wouldn't be successful. Maybe it would, but I just generally try to steer clear of the man at all costs, because it turns a lot of people off, and I don't have the luxury of turning people off when I'm trying to invite them into the state assemblies. The second idea that I had, and this is just something to keep in context, although I like the idea of the capitulation, because I've watched that video called The Greatest Show on Earth, if you've heard of that one. It's about his capitulation tour, and I like it. I love it. But here's what's interesting about it, and I'd like to see what other people think about this. Whenever I was reading Anna's articles about the United States, and that's the one in all caps, right, and how it franchised a lot of other organizations, including China and Germany and New Zealand, right, all these other corporations that are named after countries. And see, I wouldn't have known 10 years ago what the difference was. But now I know that the United States is the king of the hill on top of all these other international organizations that aren't even real countries, right? But the United States is at the top of all that municipal business, right? And so my theory is that the reason the capitulation tour happened is because the British Raj, our British territorial, it has been running the world. And it's been doing it in our names fraudulently, but nonetheless, it has been running the world and starting wars and all this. So the capitulation tour was really, in my mind, and I don't know the full story, but it appears to be the capitulation tour was the United States going across to these different companies, not countries, but companies, and saying, we're bringing it back to the way it ought to be, which, you know, that's a good sign. But the only reason they would capitulate is because they're franchises. It wasn't sovereign countries capitulating, it was the franchises, because sovereign countries don't do that for any reason whatsoever. Sovereign countries like Oklahoma is not going to bend the knee to Texas. We're going to say Texas is our peer and we respect you and we really like having you next to us, but we're not going to bend the knee. We're not going to capitulate. And so
No,
that's
but the
the
way
way
that the way that the British Raj does it though is that they just take out the you know, the leadership and put and install their own.
So, and the reason yeah, you're right. And so the reason I bring it up is, you know, my enthusiasm for a lot of these subjects, it usually centers around clarity. When we know exactly what we're talking about, then we get a lot of power behind what we're doing. But if we don't know what we're talking about in one part, it kind of weakens our message. And so I just wanted to point that out, that the capitulation tour, in my opinion, could not possibly be other sovereign nations capitulating to America, because number one, the United States that everybody knows about out there and is talking about is not America. It's the British territorial as the United States of America Incorporated, or it's the municipal government operating as the United States, right? But neither one of them are sovereign entities. But that's what everybody talks about. So that's number one, the capitulation. The second thing about it was that um, we are, you know, as the sovereign people of every state, it is accurate to say that we would go down to the sheriff's station or wherever, and we would be demanding their capitulants, right? Well, what I find interesting about it is that we're playing a different game here, and that's what I wanted to point out. And I'm not saying that my opinion's the only one. I'm just bringing it to the table for discussion because I think it's an important discussion. And that is when Trump was doing the capitulation, he was working with other countries or, you know, other incorporated entities that are already underneath. So of course they're going to capitulate. They're not sovereign countries, they're companies. Like you have China and New Zealand and Germany, and they're all in all caps, right? So of course they're playing the game, and they're all on the side of cleaning up that commercial space, which I'm for. I'm for them cleaning up their commercial space. We are not doing the same thing. We're not going over to players that are already chartered underneath us. We're approaching law enforcement officers that have no clue what we're talking about. And they look at us like we're a talking horse, and we arrive and we say, we're the sovereign people, and you're going to do these things for us. And so I remember the conversation I had with an Oklahoma highway patrolman. Now he was a nice man and he was very professional, but he was like, well, what is this? I've never seen this before, you know, and I had all of, you know, 5 minutes to explain what it was. I mean, that's nothing. That's no time at all. And of course he gave me the ticket. And so I guess what I'm saying is, I like this idea. I like the capitulation idea. I like the campaign idea. I like radiating out, or, you know, whichever way you go with different counties. But I think we, you know, need to make sure that we know what we're walking into. And the third idea I had was when the Magna Carta was signed, the way that they enforced it and got that contract, which was, you know, a really big part of common law, is that the army surrounded the British monarch. They surrounded him with their armies, and they forced him to sign that contract. And they were saying, "You will sign this contract, or we will go to war." So you have to back it up. And I know we're not, you know, a lot of us aren't a big fan of you know, Roosevelt, not FDR, but his family, right? The other guy, the Rough Riders guy. Theodore Roosevelt, right? But he said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." Well, we got to have a big stick. And I think the lawful way to have a big stick is those are our common law courts. And so whenever we go and we demand, my question is, what do we have backing up when we say, we're here and you're going to lower that flag and you're going to put our civil flag on top? I love that idea. What are we going to do when they say, no, we're not doing that? Are we going to file liens against them, agricultural liens? Is that our plan? Do we have a plan? Or are we just going to go up there and say, you're going to do this? And they say, no. And we say, okay, well, we tried. You know, what's our plan?
I've got my take on that, if I may here. I think number one, this is a phase that I think Louise thought of as a, you know, you know, something that we would like to happen, right? It's a conceptual idea. And I think it would have to include some type of enforcement, which is why I think it was including the peacekeeping, you know, officers on our side, right? My idea, and I'm totally on board with your train of thought, Bart, is that, you know, and we keep telling people on our state, it's not worth your time and effort right now to fight the de facto, because it's so much time and energy sending all the paperwork and fighting and fighting and fighting, that now we're taking the focus away from building our assembly and getting our assembly fully standing. And even at the end of the day, if you did everything that you were supposed to do and follow all the processes, they're criminals, and criminals don't play by the rules. So it's not going to matter. For me, the way that I see this turning around is when the banks are open and we get our credit, all those police officers that are banking on their pension plans are going to jump ship. They're going to jump ship. And I think that that's when we'll get them on board. They've got the skill sets, they've got the knowledge base to come on board and then be the lawful enforcement. That's how I see it happening, you know, in my vision. But I think that it's always worth an effort to try to negotiate and try diplomacy, you know, and talk. And I know, for instance, Joe Hayes is, you know, leading our peacekeeping task force. Excellent, you know, morally upstanding man, smart, intelligent, articulates his you know, his thoughts properly. He would be somebody I could see would be able to build bridges. And so that may be something that, you know, as far as when we roll out these phases of this particular project, I think that's probably a phase that we're going to have to play by ear according to what's happening, right?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the way that I see it. And I know that I think Karen had her hand up. Karen Sandler, you had your hand up. You want to say something?
Yeah, I did, and I put it in the chat, actually. Let me find it. So there's a article by Anna. I don't see the number there, but part of it says, "Don't put the Great Seal on state paperwork, making it look like it came from the Federation." So I am very leery about using that. At least for Georgia, I would never put the Federation seal on anything that's going to be, because that's international. And we're looking at counties. You're going into another jurisdiction. So just have to be very careful about that. I would step away from using that. There's nothing wrong with using our state seals.
Yeah, and I think that that's probably something, and Louise, she did get back on, but I think that that's probably part of what we're waiting on for Anna to approve for us, right? That's part of this process, waiting for her to approve it. And did anybody else have their hands up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Adrian?
No, I'm just listening in.
Okay. All
May
right.
I?
Please.
Somebody else?
Oh, Bart, did you have something else?
Well, just to piggyback off of what Karen Sandler was saying, I know what she's talking about, that we don't want to be putting Federation seal on business that is Republican state business. And when we're on the soil, the all, you know, running through the counties, doing our tours through the counties, that's definitely Republican state business. I did want to also mention that as a state assembly, we have the capacity to operate in 3 different capacities, right? We operate in the land and soil when we want to, and also the international land, and also the global jurisdiction, the state of states, right? So we are definitely, you know, operating, we're putting our foot forward as the Republican state whenever we're going county by county, but there is an advantage of including the Federation seal, not to say that is the banner that we're flying as we walk into every county, but it is a good way of showing that all 50 state assemblies are united in their Federation of States, and we have that seal. And it's a good association to make because I encounter this a lot. A lot of people, they come and they say, they ask questions and they talk about it. And the look that they give us is more, they're like, oh, so you're one of these patriot organizations that's disparately located all over the country and you guys don't really have any authority. And they look at us like, more power to you, but they don't think that we're really the American State Assembly. And so that is our connection with the Federation, because of course it's one of those instrumentalities. It's the one that we operate in the international land jurisdiction, but it is a nice official seal. It's one of the few that we have that's internationally recognized at this point in time, because we're dealing with very few state nationals.
International criminals.
Go ahead, Marlene.
I said international criminals. But another thing I thought of is the Declaration of Provenance, because that is powerful as well. Jim's letter, that's hugely powerful. So I yield. Thank you.
Well, so Martin, so Karen, I'm saying there's a little bit of both end, but I like what you're saying about, we can use our state seal because it's ours and we're
Karen Simmer with it's not my word, it's Anna's.
right.
And so what happened in the very beginning when Federation was getting started and public notices went out, everybody was using the Federation seal on their letterhead. And she said, no, we can't. This is to the coordinators, that it shouldn't have been done. And there's no way to undo it. But now anything we send out now, that's just the state, because our state is a nation. We're not allowed to, we shouldn't be using the Federation seal unless it's words that are coming exactly from the Federation. And we have a lot of people in each state, which is each nation, to address. It's kind of out of our jurisdiction to address the international jurisdiction. And I know what you're saying as far as, but that's a state. When our state courts are up and running, the county courts will have their own jurisdiction, and that's only for each county. And that's what I think these postcards are focusing on, just each county at once, a little tiny piece. I mean, Georgia has 159. We've got a huge mess of counties to address if we choose to do this route. So you should take a look at that article.
Here's another thought, Karen. I'm going to take a look at that article. But when everybody's correcting their status, the first jurisdiction that we arrive in is the land. And so we populate that first. And so that does lend some credence to Louis. And if I remember right, Luis has been checking with Anna, and Anna said it was okay to put the Federation seal on those brochures. So I'm pretty sure we have. Is that right, Luis?
Well, if she said it's okay, then that's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Luis. We
Here. Oh, I showed her the postcard. She said yes, the postcard was fine. I haven't showed her anything else.
So,
well, I did show her all the 13 documents, that too.
Okay. Well,
I think just for the sake of time, guys, Deanna has a question, and then I'm going to let Luis continue on. Deanna, do you want to go ahead and say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to interject and say maybe it's a possibility that we do the provenance declaration on a billboard or something like that. We put on a stand in the county tours where we say, look, this is our provenance, right? Here's our standing right here. We don't have to hand them out. We don't have to give them to anybody, but we have that proof of that document in a large format where people can see it standing there on a stand. Something to that effect. Just an idea. I yield.
Thank you. All right, Luis, why don't you go ahead and share your screen again, and you could continue with your presentation, and then we'll take questions because I believe you're at phase 3, and you have a few more to review.
So while you're looking at this document, I'm gonna just comment a little bit about what Bart was concerned about as far as the comparison to the capitulation tour with Trump. This is the comparison I see. I mentioned that in hand, those county sheriffs have the contracts, which is all of the constitutions are the contracts. Just like Trump with the United States Corporation went to all their franchises, told them to stand down. We are the Federation of States going to our subcontractors, the municipal and the territorial, telling them to stand down. That's how I see the comparison. How we carry that out, I'm going to leave that to the PKTF to figure all that out. But this is another document that me and Cheryl, Cheryl came up with it, but I thought it was excellent. Declaration of Independence 2.0, America's Resurgence. The document talks about the fraud and everything of what we are, the reason why we are demanding that they stand down. All the crime, the corruption, everything that they're doing, we now know what you did. We now know you violated the contract. We now know that you are violating our Declaration of Independence. We didn't know we should call it that name, but I like that name, America's Resurgence. That word resurgence is what Anna uses all the time. And the document has the flags where the military flag is below the civil flag. I'm thinking that this go in hand as well. And the additional part to this comes with, I think this is something we can hand out at the county tours too. Of course, we got to get approval and stuff for all this. But the other thing that I was thinking about too, knowing that we are the Republican states and the county, at the county level, we are doing this. I wanted to know if there was a trademark for the United States that we could use under the authority of the county sheriffs. I don't know. That's the question that I have for Anna, but that's what this blue area says. Is there a trademark for the United States? Because that's dropping down to the county level. So that would be at the middle, at the top, but then the Federation, for me, the Federation symbol shows, again, I think Bart was saying, the 50 states in full force. That's what I call it. We have to make that connection into the public's view that we are 50. We're not just one lonesome county assembly, someone lonesome national. They need to see us as a group. And to that, I'm going to say this. I'm going back to that less than 10 people that took down George Ryan in our little neighborhood. Well, at every meeting, at every strategy meeting, it was only less than 10 of us. So how did we do it? The first thing we did is we said, well, we know we have to show that there's more numbers than us. So what we did was we went around and did a petition. Who is against this prison? Or who wants, no, we didn't even say who is against the prison. We asked who wants to have truth and clarity about what they are trying to do in our neighborhood. Do you think we should have truth and clarity about what they're trying to do, developing our neighborhood with this prison? That was the question. We didn't say, are you against the prison? No. We just asked the question, do you want truth in our government? Who's going to say no to that? So we got a petition of 200 signatures. So whenever the less than 10 of us spoke to the cameras, we could say 200 people are behind us, even though they only see one. This declaration was an idea that I thought would mimic that. Whereas on our website, remember when they did, this is another bridge opportunity. Remember when they did the Great Barrington Declaration? They did the Great Barrington Declaration when COVID and those shots came out. Then on their website, they had signatures, people who signed. I'm thinking, put this on our website with that document, getting people to sign. But only, we don't want concerned citizens. We want American state nationals. American state nationals to sign all over the country. So whenever our county sheriff go to that one little office, we're going to say 800,000 people behind us. Well, I don't know if it's going to be 800,000, but he will be able to say that's who's behind him. The reason we got George Ryan out of our neighborhood is because we knew the importance of the numbers. And one thing Anna was saying when I think we asked her on some webinar, what do you think how do we get them to do what they're supposed to do? One thing she said is public opinion, which is what I agree. And I interpret as public pressure. We need to get out in public and ask the question, who is for the Declaration of Independence? Who gonna say no to that? That's what we want to know. That we don't want to know if we might want to know if you for the Constitution, but that's a whole nother, that's just the contract. And she's been telling us our focus is on the Declaration, not on the contract. Now they're supposed to abide by the contract, so that's why we want to have it in hand, the county sheriff, and say, hey, this is where you're breaking. We need to educate them. Here is our lane. These are your lanes. This is our building. Your building is in Washington, D.C. So we need to put in a transition plan. This is what I think the PKTF and county sheriffs to do. Put together a transition plan before you go talk to them. So you'll let them know, okay, so this amount of years, we're going to do this. We're going to sign up everybody who needs to be nationals. And, we're only going to have nationals running this building, however it's going to go. But that's how I see the capitulation tour is us telling our subcontractors stand down. Just like the U.S. incorporation told all their franchises to do the same thing. So they can relate to that fault without us having to even explain it. Just say capitulation. They know what they did. We doing the same thing to y'all. So how are you going to say you don't understand what we're doing? You just did it. Okay, well, I'm just getting excited. But anyway, on our website, we'll have this along with the declaration underneath it, wherever. Of course, we got to get this approved. I'll send this document out with all the other documents that I'm going to send with the replay. But read this document. It is an excellent document Cheryl put together. It tells what we need them to know when we go talking to them and educate them about. So that's part of the capitulation tour aspect to it, to have something like this so that people can renew their freedom, renew their commitment to the Declaration of Independence. The public is lost in that fact.
Luis, is this part of the PDF file that you have in the chat? Is the Declaration of Independence 2.0, is that in there? Is that part of it?
I don't know if it's in there, but you can go to this website and download it. Okay. All these documents too, you can download at the website, the brochures, this
awesome
document here.
If I may, just for anybody who's read America Lives already, I shared that with Louise, and Louise took it and made it even better. And then I just moved stuff around. So it's that for those of you who've already read that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah, that was a great document to begin with, Cheryl. Thank you. It's nice that you guys collaborated and produced it.
May I?
Thanks for sharing. So yeah, that's my idea with that. Go ahead, Bart.
Okay. Sorry, I haven't figured out how to raise my hand yet on this thing. I'm looking for the button. I can't find it. But I remember reading an article way back about Sheriff Mack and them were promoting a second Declaration of Independence. And I remember Anna saying, do not do that because we have a Declaration of Independence. Don't sign another one because you don't want to give up on the one we've already established, in 1776. So stick to that one. So I'm wondering how are we making sure that we're sticking with the original Declaration of Independence whenever we have it written? It says, Declaration 2.0. To me,
you got to read it.
When I see that, when I see that title, I'm like, oh, this looks like another Declaration of Independence.
Well, let me just read the first part then. The first paragraph. Cheryl, may I?
Yes, please.
It says, with our feet firmly grounded upon the land and soil of our nation states, in full communion with natural law and holding and expressing our inherent natural and unalienable rights, the men and women of the United States have come to know what is true regarding the governance structure that is intended for the people, as stated in our founding document, the Unanimous Declaration of Independence, 1776. We see that the American governance has been replaced with the rogue corporate British territorial and Roman municipal U.S. governments and their incorporate subsidiaries, franchises, and successors. That's the opening statement.
That has to be a comma there. I meant to tell you. That's
We'll
slash.
fix it. We'll fix it later.
I like it. I like it. What if you put the unanimous Declaration of Independence 1776 and you put that in bold, maybe a larger font?
Yeah, we can do, you know, things to it.
Yeah, this is initial draft, really.
And I'm bringing my constructive criticism. I
No,
really like
please.
all this. And I really, really like the civil peacetime flag above the war flag. I've been wanting that for years. I love it.
Yeah.
I know,
The other
Louise, that
thing,
is brilliant.
the other thing I think that the county sheriffs and PKTF need to take in hand is the trust documents. The Davila Trust, the St. Germain Trust, which she talks about, that's what paid them to do this to their job. So that's another piece of evidence in their coffers to show that you are our employers. We paid you. Here is the contracts. You need to put our flag up there. Basically, you know.
Well, you meant employees, right? Not employers.
Employees, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. So, I mean, you have to be diplomatic, of course. They're just not going to say, oh, yes, okay, I'm going to put it up. No, it's going to take a few meetings, I mentioned to go public, our little less than 10 people, we were always in the news. We're going to have to get in the news. The people are going to have to see that these people that's in your offices do not respect the Declaration of Independence. That's the message that we have to give them. And that we already paid them and they're taxing you. Who wants to hear that? We paid them. These are documents. We paid them. But they're still taxing you. They need to ask the question, well, why am I being taxed? These are all the things that are going through my mind as ammunition when you go talk to these people. That's phase 3.
May I say a couple little things here?
Yes, Cheryl, please.
I'm looking at some things popping up in the chat, and Louise, correct me if I'm, because this literally has come up just within the last couple of days. So I think Louise's intent is not to actually have a signed new Declaration of Independence. That Declaration of Independence 2.0 is a concept. And the reason I suggested we create the actual title of the Declaration is not the Declaration of Independence. It's the Declaration of Freedom, Standing, and Peaceful Intent. So the Declaration of Independence is a concept. We're not going to be autographing this and posting it on the public record. It's to be used to educate. That was the original intent of my America Lives. So if I'm misspeaking, please elaborate, Louise. I yield.
Oh, no, you're not misspeaking. I don't even think we have the capacity to sign another declaration. I mean, it just makes no sense. Why do you sign another declaration?
Why would
already
we want to? Why would we want to?
No, I think the I guess issue or concern rather is that if somebody reading this saying Declaration of Independence 2.0, they're without reading it, just that title is going to mislead them. And so perhaps
how about this? Declaration of Independence a concept. America's
or somebody in the chat put like restated. I like that. Because we're basically restating, and actually we've got some new claims, but we're not changing the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, restated is good.
Yeah, these are all good ideas. Another one that came to mind was, this is not quite the same context, but remember the Alamo. And that's not the same, because the Alamo was a great defeat. But we could say, remember the Declaration of Independence. But all the ideas that you guys mentioned so far, I like those too. Declaration of Independence reaffirming, or the other, I like it all. As long as it points to, whenever you pick it up and you're that guy off the street and you're like, what are you guys doing? And they pick up this and they're like, As long as, the first thing they read is, oh, the original unanimous Declaration of Independence. Right. That thing, Maybe you could just say, remember, colon, the Declaration of Independence.
Good ideas.
May I?
Yeah.
Tammy?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
It's Ted from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Ted, good to see you.
Hey, thank you. Going back to the main title in the first paragraph, how about upholding the Declaration of Independence? Because that's an upward moment or movement. And that's really what we're saying, that we want to uphold it. Just an idea.
I like that word.
Cheryl, you taking down all those notes?
Only in my brain, but I'll stop.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so back to this. This is all of what I just explained is in phase 3 there, and who we want to be the signers. And I'm calling it signers because these are people who are reinforcing or recommitting to the declaration. This is an important part here. We want, or I want, signers from the United States, state and local government officials to sign. And I want United States, state and local government employees to sign. And that is to let people know who those government officials out there are who's supporting their Declaration of Independence and who are not supporting their Declaration of Independence. This particular part of it is for is working on the psyche of the public, for them to see what's actually going on out there with their public officials. That's the idea of why I got this poll, those numbers, the names, and things like that. And then the PKTF can keep track of who names they collect.
Luis, may I?
Yeah.
What is the purpose, I think, of having these autographs?
This signature form here, once somebody clicks and signs, these numbers are calculated. We want people to see what numbers are supporting the Declaration of Independence.
So who are the people that are clicking and signing?
So back to this. American state nationals, American state and county assemblies as an organization, United States state local government officials, and United States state local government employees. If you are a United States citizen, a citizen of the United States, we don't want your signature. These are the people we're targeting for people to know.
So these are American state nationals and American state citizens.
Yeah, they all go under American state. These two, American state nationals, they're American state and county assemblies, your assembly itself. So we want to know what state assemblies, what county assemblies are signing.
And so the purpose of signing this is basically to get the support. So when you're going in front of, the sheriffs, the de facto sheriffs and the LEOs, to try to bridge a gap, you have the backing when it's just a few people in your assembly and you say, okay, the United States is showing up and these are the people that have signed this. Is that the purpose of that?
Yes. Now, but when you say United States, we have to be clear. The American state nationals is everybody across the country. So we want them to sign. So these are the people that's telling those United States local government officials and the United States local government employees that they need to stand down.
Gotcha. Okay, now I understand it. I got a clearer picture. Thank you. And I just want to say, just for the sake of time, we've got a few minutes before 9. How about you finish this phase of the presentation, and we will, because I think what you were looking for is to get volunteers. Could we pause it at this point, and or if you're not finished with this phase, is it possible that we could pause it and you could, you know, gather the people that you're looking to help with anything in specific that you need help with? I know Cheryl, I know Margaret has been helping. If there's anybody else that you need help from and something specific, we probably should talk about that now, and then we can continue this in the next meeting.
Let me talk about phase 4 and 5 together, because this is where other people get involved. Phases 1 and 2, we basically got it covered. Phase 3, I'm handing it off. I wanted everybody to know what it was, and, you know, get their input on it. But that's really going to be something I'm handing off to county sheriffs and them to develop if they think that it's a good idea. Phase 4 and 5 is about the web TV platform and the blog news platform. This is something that I'm going to have to work on after launch. So this period of launch time is January, February 2025. This is going to take a lot of collecting of information and volunteers to do the work. So this is where the core work is going to be done from other volunteers that's on other states. So this the web TV platform is going to be this format. I shouldn't say this format, but this is the model that I'm looking for our web TV platform. This is Epoch TV, and this is their platform. On this on our web TV, we're going to have different topics, as you can see on here. We got the categories of the TV schedule, news, restoration, interviews. We're going to have a American State National University and a homeschool platform where we teach classes or present classes for people to learn. The bridge, this bridge area is where we're going to document what all the county sheriffs and PKTF is doing. When we go out there in public, when they go out there in public and they speak, we want them to document what these people are doing. Take pictures, get papers, and we're going to report on what's happening. That's going to set us up too for the 3-day event that we're going to plan. The docuseries, the documentaries. We need people who are graphic artists, videographers, who may do news, who want to be an anchor person, people who can develop websites. I need some help. I'm willing to develop these websites, but it does really require a whole lot of time. Now, when we're looking at this web TV platform, we got the 5 news segments: Federation of States, de jure news, de facto in the news, global news, and galactic news. When we're looking at these websites, we're looking at 2 websites in one. Actually, the university is going to actually be a website by itself. And then the other part, the web TV, is going to be a website by itself. The same way as in the menu blog, the news blog. This is actually 2 websites. One is the news itself, and then the other one is a shop. That's going to have to be a separate website. Now, I am willing to lay out and do the websites, but one website I won't manage is the shop. I don't like managing people's money. I have a very high principle about people's money. So if we want a shop and somebody wants to manage the shop, keep track of the funds will go to our phase 6 3-day event, and we need a volunteer for that. That's how that one will get off the ground if we want a shop. We're going to need some flags, because all the nationals going to need to be putting those peace flags out as we go out and do these tours, so people can start seeing us in the public eye. So we need people who want to run you see all these categories? We need volunteers in each of those categories to either manage them or provide information for them. We had concern about people providing their information, what's going to happen to it, and the security aspects of it. So in order to protect yourself from me and me from you, You need to put a copyright on your information and specify the limits you have on your information if you're going to submit it to be on the websites. These websites are free to the public to look at, to download, to use. That's what people do with websites. This is free information. Only thing that's not free is the shop. And if I had access to my Prosperity account, I'd make that free. But I don't, so I'm not paying for the shop. So as you look through this document and you see where your skill sets are, we want you to come forward and help out with developing these 2 websites. And then we only got one more, Tammy.
All right, go for it.
Okay. The last one is the 3-day event. I'm going to read my purpose for the 3-day event. It's the culminating event for the other 5 phases to finally take to the world stage and present ourselves to the world as the Federation of 50 in full force, backing our fiduciary Anna. We invite our federal subcontractors. We invite our federal subcontractors to speak to their actions and come clean, and offer an opportunity for reconciliation in the spirit of Robert David Steele. He's an ex-CIA agent who gave Anna a regular platform to speak before his passing, if he's passed. He promoted reconciliation for the corrupt deep state. We will demonstrate the bridge efforts we have taken to reach our hand across the table to invite them to reform their ways. If they decline to represent themselves and show up on the world stage, then we put whomever declines on blast, like Neethi say, to the world in our capacity as the newly restored Federation of 50 states taking the control of our American government back due to their breach of contract and breach of trust. At this event, we will debut a full-length documentary explaining true American history entitled America's Resurgence, to captivate the spirit that Anna has encouraged us to have. This is why this particular title of the event was chosen. A panel discussion, a concert of 528 hertz, and a resurgence education seminars are being considered. This plan is to have access to if we have access to our Prosperity accounts, it could be paid for by that if we have access to it. And if not, then we have to do some raising of some money, like the shop. I want to bring some particular attention to something on this 3-day event. We got Friday, that's the full documentary, but on Saturday, I'm gonna put this out there for people to marinate on. On the panel discussion, I want you to take a look at those people that I invited in the title of the discussion. When kingship was lowered down from heaven to earth. In highlight, I have Anna Von Reitz is the Senior Field Commander Seraph. I know what people controversy is around that statement. I put other links there to other people's information for us to look over, to go educate ourselves so that when we come to the table to plan this event, we will have an educated input on who to invite and who not to invite, what to call this panel discussion or not to have the panel discussion. I just want to bring that to everybody's attention. I think personally that when kingship was lowered down from heaven to earth, that particular happening did happen. And that is why we're in the predicament we are now with governance. So that's why I thought it would be appropriate to have that type of conversation at this 3-day event.
May I?
Yes.
I'm not familiar with the Seraph Commander thing. What is that?
That
Senior
article
Field-
right there.
Yeah, can you give maybe a 3-sentence brief on what she's saying?
I have been completely upfront from the very beginning and have told anyone who asks that I am a battle class Seraph from the Age of Storms. That is the identity of the being currently occupying this little physical body called Anna. I am one of the angelic shock troops that first forged this universe we live
Okay.
in now.
I think I've read that before. Can I make a comment on that kind of content? I'm watching a show right now. It's called Outer Range. You guys ever heard of that? It's on Amazon Prime. it's very out there. That's why it's called Outer Range, but it's kind of cool because it combines, Open Range with Kevin Costner with Outer Limits, which is really culminates the show. But it is out there. It shows a hole in some 40 acres that has nothing but time in it. And when I watch a movie like that, I think this is Hollywood, and this is really mentally stimulating, and it's fascinating. And I mean, when I was in high school, I always loved to read about time travel. And then growing up, I've learned about, some people think that time is a construct. It doesn't even exist, but it's something that the modern world has come up with. And I've always, I enjoy having fascinating conversations, but that's as far as it goes. And whenever I talk about the American state assemblies, the strength of my lead in, the strength of the footing that I have with my audience, usually as a captive audience at dinner, is that I say, this is the way things are. And you know this. We have a Declaration of Independence. We have 3 contracts. And I state all of these facts. And I show them, look, you can just go look at the Declaration of Independence. You can go look at the Northwest, what was it? Northwest Art. But you can look at the Articles of Confederation. And these are factual documents. It's all a settled matter. There's no controversy. They don't have to take anything on faith. And I can say, look, this is the way things are. This is the way our country was built. But when I start saying that Anna is with the shock troops of something, immediately they lose me. They're like, all right, Bart. And then we're back into fascinating discussion. And I've already had this happen a couple of times. I thought we were actually going somewhere in discussions on our Friday nights with some friends. And then, it got to a point where one of my friends couldn't handle what I was saying. And he actually said this to me. He was like, Bart, and he was being honest, but he kind of blew his top. He blew his top, and he was like, he just kind of let it go. He's like, Bart, I can't take this anymore. There is no way that Anna von Reitz is the fiduciary of the United States of America. And it was really frustrating for me because I realized that the last 6 months of conversations that I've been having with him, I thought we were getting somewhere. And then what I realized was, for me, this is the way things are. As certain as all of the history that I've read in the actually more certain than all the history I've read about in the history books, going through high school and college, because half of that is constructed and it's not real. But it's more certain than that. But for him, it wasn't. For him, it was fascinating discussion, and it was purely intellectual. And he was just enjoying it, but he didn't think it was real. And so when I'm speaking about factual things and I'm bringing it to my audience, they look at me like I'm a talking horse, even though I'm telling them this is the way things are. But whenever I touch on this subject, I don't see any hope of me connecting with them, especially these engineer types and these accountants, people who believe in facts and what I see. And we're on the land. That's what we're supposed to be championing. We're all about substantive. I'm a man who has blood in my flesh, and I breathe, and I touch. And the common law pertains to things that we can see. We own objects, and we don't have ownership interest. We own. So the whole land jurisdiction for me is all about facts and substance. And I'm having a hard time bridging the gap whenever I read an article like that, much less how to sell that to somebody on a public platform. We come onto the stage, and the first thing we say is, Anna is the part of the seraph. I don't even know what a seraph is. I know that my audience has no clue whatsoever either. There's my question. How do we bridge that gap? Because that is even more controversial than everything that I already know about the United States of America, the Federation of States, the inchoate Confederation of States. I mean, all that stuff I know is real. Seraph, that's a real hard sell. How are we going to bridge that gap?
Yeah, I think we don't, the way we bridge that gap is we educate ourselves, first of all. I have these links of different websites you can go to that talks about this type of stuff, and in a real physical way, who meets these people and talks to these people, because these are, when kingship was lowered, these are actually people. So I would think before we have a conversation, we all need to get educated first and do some research in other areas other than the ones we already know of. I think that would be the first place to go. And let's not talk about something we don't really know about.
Yeah. I'll bring it up at another meeting because I know we're going long, but thanks for listening to me. I'm glad I was able to say that.
We have Jason on Florida with his hand up.
Thank you. Everything you just said, Bart, is very on point. But 20 years ago, that's what we were saying about UFOs. They didn't exist.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just take the time to look over the information. We'll have to come back to this because we got 3 years to talk about this. Okay. All right. And to be honest, that's why I think Anna is still alive right now. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'm going to leave the rest of this for us to just look over. But the one thing that I wanted to bring out, the part where I said, when we go public, some of us will be targeted. So to offset and preempt that, the one thing I want to do is to have Anna announce each phase in her webinars and do an international public notice to set the stage for us coming out there, to give us some protection and to let them know where the authority is coming from. Because they know her. They don't know us. But she needs to be able to say when they got her cornered in those meetings that we're not in, and they're telling her, y'all ain't doing nothing. And she needs to be able to say, there they are right there. We need to have her back. She needs to be able to point to us and say, that's them right there. You need to listen to them.
Yeah.
So,
and we've got Scott Panko on Minnesota. Scott.
Hello, thank you. I joined late. Unfortunately, I'm in too many committees. Well, I just wanted to know where I would access the link to get the recording so I can catch up.
That's a great question, Scott. I was going to actually brief everybody that I have been, as this meeting is going on, people who shared their emails, I've added them to the list already. I will send it out tomorrow. I'm going to wait for Louise to give me her PDF file, this updated one, and send it off to me if you haven't done so already, Louise. And I will include this PDF file with the recording so everybody has it. I'm going to encourage everybody to print it up. That's kind of what I did, Louise. And I've been going through it and kind of redlining things that I had questions for you. And I would say, let's do that. And for the next meeting, why don't we get right into the areas, Louise, that you think that we should start working on? Because like you said, you have the first 2 phases already worked out, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's things that we're waiting on as far as approval goes from Anna. But in the meantime, we could start working on maybe phase 4 and 5. And that could be something that we talk about next meeting.
Yeah, phase 4 and 5. So take a look at this next section here. I kind of outlined the things that's needed. So when we come back to the meeting next month, you'll know where your skill set lies and what it is that you can help with, or you want to volunteer to help with.
Awesome. And I'm also going to say too that I'm going to also just ask you guys that if there's anything else that you're doing on your state. I mentioned it the beginning of the meeting, and I know some people like Scott came in late, but if there's something on your state that you're doing for outreach that you find is successful, that could help the group, share that with me, and we'll get you on the schedule, and be able to present it anyway. All right.
Tammy, I don't know if people saw this, but I did put, Oklahoma recently published a How to Correct Your Status video guide. And I put it in.
Thank you, Bart, for bringing that up. I meant to do that. Go ahead. Tell everybody how to.
Well, it ended up being 18 minutes long, and I may put a little section of it to make a YouTube short, But it is in the very beginning. I did a little thing where, you got your 1779 declaration, and it's my hand on there, and I'm just filling it out because people are like, what is this? And how do I fill it out? And it's 30 seconds. You're like, you change the state and the county, you change your state of stimuli, you autograph, and it's really just something, it answers the next 15 minutes of the video just goes through all the questions and answers. And I put it on our TASA think tank group on Telegram. So you guys, I just wanted to say, you can use it. Send it to anybody you like. It's custom made for Oklahoma. So we're talking about Oklahoma counties, and I mentioned a lot of things about Oklahoma. It's for us, but I also posted the slide, the PowerPoint presentation. I posted that in our iStrive, and I stripped off all of the Oklahoma seals. So if you guys want to make your own and narrate it on your own, and I just wanted to say, you're free to use all the slides for your own yourselves. You can edit it, you can match it to whatever you want. You can use it verbatim. It's all yours, and narrate it yourselves and change it from Oklahoma to Virginia, or whatever. But I put it out there, and you can watch it for an example. And also, if you're on Telegram, please, review it critically and make some comments. If you think that I've missed something major, or if there's something extra that I could add, that would be helpful too. So I yield.
Awesome. Yeah, so was there anything else that we wanted to talk about with the iStrive account, Bart?
Only that there's 2 links. One of them is to it's specifically for outreach, and the other folder is for education. So we've kind of, our think tank is mostly about outreach, but of course there's some natural overlap with education. So we created a folder for that. All of those folders, there's a public link, and it's posted on Telegram. And if anyone wants to propagate that link out into your assembly for people who are not on Telegram, you're free to grab that link and put it out, because it's a public link. Anyone can get into that folder and they can download. But if you have some information that you would like to put on that folder so that all the other assemblies will have access to it, whoever's on that Telegram group, just send it to me or Vicky or Tammy. We will upload it on there, because we're the only 3 that have uploading privileges. And then that'll help that information get out. And it's really a parallel, because whenever a lot of us get onto the DSM servers, right, we'll be able to establish that as well. So the iStrive is really just a supplemental in my mind. It's maybe we'll continue it on for the next 5 years, and we'll just keep at it, or maybe we'll go to the document server, the DS server. So
Yes. Yep. It's the DMS.
DMS, thank you. So we'll have both going. We'll see which one's more popular.
Awesome. All right. Anybody else have any questions, or, like I said, I'll get the recording link out tomorrow, so everybody will have access to that. But outside of that, I'm just going to say, Louise, thank you once again. This is amazing. And I think Julie had something. Sorry, go ahead, Julie.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I did want to ask a quick question about the content that was on the outreach channels on Mattermost. Were those captured and migrated over to the iStrive by chance?
No, because we weren't looking to take any content from Mattermost and put it on the iStrive. We were just when we created this think tank group, we were welcoming people to share their content if they had, PowerPoint presentations or videos or anything that they wanted to share. I know Pennsylvania shared their newsletter, their beautiful newsletter. So things like that, we can upload to the iStrive account. And again, this was just in the interim until we have access to the DMS. And like Bart said, we may continue to keep the iStrive depending on how user-friendly the DMS is. And again, this is just for each state to have access to things that could help them with outreach on their state.
Okay, and so then possibly the information that's on the iStrive might migrate over to the DMS at some point, because there's people that are not on Telegram, let's say, and there's people that don't have access to the iStrive. So, I'm just trying to figure out, where does one get access to all the information?
May I?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, if anyone would like to fill that role, that'd be great. I'm pretty swamped up with lots of projects, but if anybody sees themselves as being the gap bridger, just get onto Telegram if you have that. Grab everything you see on that, get into the ice drive, grab everything you see and drop it into your the document management server. Just drop it in there on your own. Otherwise, you may wait a couple months for me to do it. So.
Yep. All right. And Scott.
Yes, thank you. I just want to recognize Bart's quandary with Anna's spiritual side. I think we all recognize that sometimes she writes an article that gets into that world. And we've had quite some conversations on Minnesota about that. And I wanted to at some time invite Bart to give me a call if you'd like to discuss how we've handled that, because I think we came up with some good ideas.
I will.
Hey,
Thank you, Scott. I will.
You bet, Bart. Thanks for your work on Oklahoma, by the way.
Yeah, and Scott, that might be a topic of discussion that I think outreach in general on this think tank group would probably like to hear. Maybe we might take, maybe 20 minutes next meeting and be able to discuss that. I think that's probably an important topic because, you can't avoid it. So, anybody else? All right. Well, that's it. I'll send out when I send out the recording tomorrow, I'll send out the date for our next meeting. Again, these are once a month. So it'll probably be the second or the third Wednesday in July, same time. Okay.
Yeah. Tammy, how do I download the chat off of this? Is there a function for that?
I think when I send the recording link, it's supposed to come with it. Did you see it?
Not yet. I saw several messages here. They were addressed to me and I'm still reading them. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to lose them.
I think Cheryl, you're on the call. You had a way to do that, didn't you?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize I was unmuted. I hope you don't hear me eating my ice cream over here. There's three little. I'm on my phone now because my computer crashed. So there's three little buttons. Like if you go to the chat, the bottom of the chat, there's like those three little dots, I think, and you click on those, and it says record chat or copy chat or something.
Where does it save it to once I do that?
It'll download it into your document file. You can put it wherever you want. It'll open up the place where you can put it in a folder.
All right, sweet.
Oh no! I'm sorry. It opens up its own folder. Forgot what it was titled, but it should show up on your computer.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that when I record this, it also gives me the option to send the chat. I thought it was automatically sending it, but if not, I'll make sure to try to include it.
One more thing, Tammy.
Yeah, go ahead, Deanna.
When did you say the next meeting was?
I didn't pick the date, but we're usually do it on a Wednesday night. I'm probably going to do the third Wednesday. I got to look at my schedule, but it'll probably be the second or the third Wednesday in July.
Is it like once a month or once?
Yeah, we meet once a month.
Okay. All right.
All right. And that should give us plenty of time. By the way, I would encourage you guys to just look over Louise's document, and her email is available on that document. So feel free to reach out to her if there's something that you think you could do right now. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining.
Tammy, I have something I would like to speak with Louise about. This is Kathy.
Oh, Kathy. Okay. Do you want to have an off conversation with her?
No. If Louise is still on.
I'm here.
Okay, Louise, did you and Craig get in touch with one another? He did find a different price quote for those trifold folders.
He did. Yes, he did.
He did. So
Yep.
I hope he was going to send you an email with the cost of those. Of course, that doesn't include any kind of mailing. That's just having them printed so that when the counties actually have their zip code meetings, in that certain zip code that they target with those postcards, they would have those flyers then to hand out.
Right. Yeah, he did send me a text message those are some pretty good prices.
Yes.
So we didn't talk about the prices of the brochures to print. We were talking about the cards, but Craig did send me a text message says that 5,000 brochures is $388.56. Then a whole list of the breakdowns, but that's good.
Yeah, that
So-
doesn't include shipping. So
Okay,
that
that
would be
includes shipping.
without shipping. Yep.
So,
Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. That sounds like a
Yes.
really reasonable price.
Right.
More
So
than
that,
reasonable.
yeah, it's something that you can hand out then to all the new people who are ready to jump back on land and out of the sea.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, everybody. Have a great night and we'll see you next month.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yep.
you, Tammy.
Bye,
Tammy.
Thank you. Thank you, Louise.
Night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Good night.
Thank you, Louise, for all your work.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Pennsylvania, for showing up.
And thank you, Tammy.
You're welcome. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you all. Blessings and love.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Sam.